What's up, guys? It's me. It's that ERIC. I am the People's co-host, Eric Barnes, and this is the Late Debate. Today, I'm being joined by Stolen Thunder, Noah Donish.
That's Mr. Entertainment Noah Donish, and I'm
I'm
very happy to be here once again on the Late Debate. I love it. I love the Late Debate.
Don't do that.
It's my favorite show on YouTube. I watch it. I watch it every single week. I pleasure myself to it.
You don't. You probably have never been to my channel before.
I have been to your channel because I was on your live stream the other day.
Okay, once.
So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
And to a lesser extent, the Extreme Icon Mike Nagel, but he's not here right now. But he'll
be back in just a second.
Yeah,
he'll be back in just a second.
He'll be back right after these messages. So anyway, this is the Late Debate. As usual, we choose a topic based on stuff that people post as comments. So if you have something you want to hear us talk about, that's the best way to do it. Leave a comment
down below in the comments section. Down below.
It's down below for sure.
Go downtown to Chinatown, baby. Downtown. Like Petula,
down there.
Like Petula Clark says. Downtown.
Who's what?
Petula Clark. She's the one that wrote that song Downtown.
The old song?
Yes, the old song.
Petula okay.
See, I know these things. I'm educated.
You know, you're just like a dude that wanted to actually live in the 40s for some reason and were born in the wrong time.
Shut up.
I mean, it's true. That's why you wear the fedora. It's not because you're a hipster. It's because you wish you were in the 40s. Anyway, so today's question comes from Slasher1511. Could you guys possibly talk about what would have happened if Eric Bischoff and Venture Media would have bought WCW? What would have happened with WCW? Would they still be around today? Would TNA even exist? Not that it's existing by much, but doom, psh, LOL. Okay, so let's start off by the main reason that Eric Bischoff and Venture Media did not purchase WCW was because they didn't have a TV deal. So
they thought they did, but it fell through.
And basically at the last second because of the whole AOL Time Warner merger shit. So in this scenario, they have a TV deal, I suppose. So would WCW still be around today? What do you think, Noah?
So honestly, TV is a weird business, okay? And
well, let's look at it this way. Whenever, WCW would have definitely had to have gone away for a little while, no matter what.
Yeah, they would have had to go into hiatus for a little while, and
it wouldn't have been Nitro back on the next week, certainly.
No, they would have gone on hiatus.
So, especially considering the time period that this was in, when they returned, it still would have been a huge deal. They could have gotten massive ratings for the first new WCW Nitro or whatever they call it.
That's the key word here, the first new WCW Nitro, but would they have maintained that momentum?
That's the thing. I mean, it could be like an WWECW type thing
WWECW.
where the first fucking show did gangbusters because people were hungry for it, and then people saw what they put on that first show, and it immediately was garbage because it was WWE. They didn't know how to do ECW. So I think at least beginning, it would have been very important to have a very, very solid first show as a comeback and not some bullshit like they were pulling at the end of their run. The Extreme Icon is here, Mike Nagel.
We just got started, buddy. So I don't necessarily think that comparing a return of WCW to the return of ECW is a really fair comparison, though, because ECW really appealed to a very niche segment of wrestling.
Please don't
fans.
ever say that like that again.
Yeah, that's definitely not the right pronunciation.
Niche.
Call it niche.
Niche.
Don't be one of those stuck-up people.
Niche.
Who say
niche.
Well, it only appeals to a certain niche of people.
Niche of people.
And I'm off to drive my Porsche.
Whatever. You get what I'm fucking saying here. ECW is a very different product and a very specific product as opposed to a more generalized wrestling promotion such as a WCW, WWE. So that's not a fair comparison. That being said, however,
comparing them.
However, is let's say Venture or Fusient Media Ventures, which is the actual name of the company. Fusient Media Ventures was Bischoff's company. Let's say they did buy it. Let's say AOL Time Warner said, okay, here's your time slot. Here's the problem, though. Them giving WCW time on TNT or TBS or whatever the fuck channel they were going to be on when Nitro returns, that's only half the equation, okay? Towards the end in WCW, they were giving tickets away to fill their buildings. They were giving tickets away. With WWE, for WWE to be profitable, they have to make money a number of ways. They have to make money through advertising on their television shows. They have to make money through network subscriptions. They have to make money through merchandising, through ticket sales to live.
You're forgetting one other key point.
Okay.
The Fusient would have been in the same boat WWE was when they just the rights to WCW. All the big-time stars had contracts with Time Warner and not with Fusient or
precisely.
WCW.
So that was part of it. So they when the transaction happened, AOL Time Warner created a fake company just to manage those contracts because the contracts didn't transfer over with the sale. They legally could not. But the thing is, what I was getting at just now was having the time slots only part of the equation. You have to be able to generate exponential amounts of money for this to be a profitable thing. And this is where TNA is struggling. TNA doesn't do live event tickets. I mean, they tour live events, but very seldomly because they can't afford to go on the road. They give away their tickets to their TV tapings in Orlando. They do so merchandise. So it's
Universal actually gives away the tickets because it's an attraction at their theme park.
You don't have to get TNA tickets. You don't have to have a ticket to the theme park.
No, but it's an attraction.
It's a value proposition to attract people to go to the amusement park. I get it, but the thing is, we're talking cold hard cash that a wrestling business needs to stay afloat, and part of the reason why WCW was able to survive on life support for the last 4 years that they were in business under Ted Turner, AOL Time Warner, wherever the fuck you want to call it, was because they had Ted Turner's pockets bankrolling it. Did Fusient Media Ventures have the blood to keep their penis erect to keep WCW going? That's what I want to know. Because
you were about to say TNA, you weirdo.
Well, I feel like if they didn't, they wouldn't have been in line to purchase it in the first place if they didn't have some sort of game plan.
Well, part of the reason they were able to buy it was because and I'm sure they did have a game plan, but it's harder than you think to compete with Vince McMahon unless you have Ted Turner's deep pockets didn't translate to ratings either. So
ECW didn't have deep pockets, and at one point they were more successful than WCW was with their giant bankroll. So I don't think money at the end of the day really has anything to do with it.
Okay, so what's your opinion on it, Mike? Would they still be around today if Fusient?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think Eric Bischoff's heart was into it from the beginning when they told him no TV. That's why it got dropped. And even with TNA, I mean, you could see it when he came in with Hogan. He really didn't do anything. Him and Jason Hervey
promos.
Him and Jason Hervey had a couple different things they did, but didn't really translate into any success for TNA. I think he's more happy doing his reality TV shows that he's producing and pitching. I think he's making a lot more money. He's happier. He's doing different stuff, and it doesn't necessarily consume his life like wrestling did.
He doesn't have to deal with the same politics he had to in the past.
I disagree with that because it's, TV as, a whole now, not just wrestling, but the whole entertainment industry. So
it'd still be politics, just a different version of it.
Type of politics. That's fair.
if anything, it probably taught him how to navigate the politics better.
Okay.
Do you think that they, like you said, the contracts were different from the company itself? Although, whenever WWE bought WCW, they got a lot of the guys that wanted to just keep performing, rather than sit back and just collect a paycheck.
Like DDP, I think made a mistake by getting his contract bought out and going right to WWE. I think in the long run, he should have waited until after everything happened, like everybody else, because he just got so fucked over royally in that.
Yeah, I mean his storyline, wow, really bad. But do you think
storyline was not successful?
Do you think of the WCW reboot under Eric Bischoff? Do you think that a lot of the talent would have continued with them, or do you think people would have just been like, "All right, well, I could get paid to sit at home, so fuck off"?
I think they would have renegotiated after their buyout was over, or not the buyout, but their contract. I mean, they had guaranteed money, and a lot of them who had the guaranteed money with Time Warner were older. Their bodies were breaking down, and they were taking that guaranteed paycheck. They knew when the money was coming. They knew what was up, and they didn't have to do shit, man. It's like a vacation. I would have done that.
So to Eric's point when we first started, which was WCW have had to have gone away for a little while to kind of revamp, retool. It wouldn't just been Nitro the next week. I think that WCW would have really gone through, when it came back in the immediate term, would have gone through a shortage of mainstream talent, because look at guys like Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan wanted one more WWF run that appealed to him. He knew that he could go to WWF, work some high-profile matches with high-profile people that he wouldn't otherwise be able to at that point in his career by staying with WCW. He would have never gotten to have had that big, huge run with The Rock. He wouldn't have been able to turn babyface again, be able to say that he held the WWF.
You don't necessarily know that, because maybe Bischoff and his company wouldn't be able to pay Hogan what Vince did.
But do you think that guys like Booker T, Scott Steiner, Ric Flair, that were WCW guys, Sting, do you think the people that still loved it would have continued with WCW, or would they have just been like, okay, I'm burnt out on the bullshit that I've gone through for at least 4 years or so, ups and downs here with WCW. Do I want to continue with them, or do I want to try something else?
I think Booker T would have made it in WWE.
I think that they would have had more options. I think that they would have really weighed their options. It would have definitely made the wrestling business more competitive. It would have been beneficial for the guys. I think certain guys would have stayed. Certain guys were going to leave either way. Ric Flair was beaming from ear to ear the day WCW went out of business. So I think either way, Ric Flair was going to jump ship.
Yes.
So. He was, but then he has also gone back and said that he was very sad whenever WCW closed. So,
well, yeah, because of the
that was history. A big chapter of his wrestling career, but
right.
At the end of the day, he was not happy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's hit this second part here. Would TNA even exist?
No, absolutely not.
No way.
Absolutely not. There would have been no room for it, and you would be diluting the talent pool even further in the 2002-2003 era. And
yeah, but I mean, look at all the talent who came to TNA. Like when they were a startup, it was mostly WCW guys
that WWE either didn't take on board during the Alliance storyline or were rejected. So guys like Buff Bagwell, guys like Scott Hall, they all made their appearances in TNA in the early years.
And Luger.
And
Sting.
And Macho Man.
He made one appearance.
Well, that still counts. China, 2 appearances. One appearance.
But I'm thinking more along the lines of if Mike said WCW was not able to last, would TNA or something similar have come up as like an alternative, a number 2 brand for the United States, or would we only have WWE?
I think TNA would have had trouble even getting a time slot on the Fox Sports Network if WCW was still in business.
Not necessarily, because if the ratings were hot like back in the Monday Night Wars, I think TNA would have had an easier time finding a spot on TV. As long as ratings were good, companies would be going after them.
Okay, that's a good point.
I think they would have still found a home on Spike TV.
Right on. Right on. All right, then. Well, if you guys are good, then I'm good. Are you good?
I'm great.
I'm awesome. Awesome.
All right. Well, that does it for this late debate. Thanks so much for watching. Again, if you want us to talk about something that you've got on your mind, leave it in the comments below. And now we'll do some plugs. Mike, what do you got, buddy?
Follow me on the YouTube at FTWNage, the Twitter at UltimoNagel, I think, and Instagram at XMVNagel. And yeah, that's it.
And not on Facebook. Noah, what do you got?
Follow me on Twitter at NoahDonish, like my official Facebook fan page. It's facebook.com/official Noahmania. And, you know, it's going to be a great weekend. So you all know that tomorrow night is UFC 202. As of this recording, it's tomorrow night. So we're going to be live streaming right around the main event and after the main event. And myself and hopefully Mike will be joining us. Eric, you're welcome to hop on also. We'll talk about the show. It'll be a special Saturday night edition of the Noah Donna Show. Then Sunday at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, the Noah Donna Show will be live for the SummerSlam recap. Whether or not the show's over, we will be live, and it will be freaking awesome. We'll recap it, take your phone calls. It's going to be a great weekend. That's all I got. Off to you, Eric.
Terrific. Click the subscribe button. That's what you should do.
Click
it's
it.
youtube.com/ebarsays. Also, follow me on Twitter at ebarsays. And that's it. We'll see you guys next week.
Woot, woot.
Has forsaken the countryside. Only one guy will remain. My money's on Tractor! Tractor! And the truck door comes in the night!